dive in. Welcome. Let's dive in to ending commitment issues in the divine union. I should know a lot about this topic because I dated uncommitted men for many years. I also had a history of uncommitted friendships and potential jobs and moved a lot with too much flow in my life, very ungrounded in a lot of ways. And then when I hit a spiritual awakening, I got very grounded. I did a lot of work and ended up being in relationship with my partner, my husband. We have a child. We're planning for a second child. We've been together in a lot of different situations and storms, and we stay committed. And so I would love to share how I've helped my clients and myself to move from an uncommitted fantasy as I look over the ocean here, where there's a desire for a relationship, there's a longing for something that's not really showing up in 3D, or it swings back and forth, or there's just a lot of drama. So I'm going to share this in the context of the divine feminine and divine masculine principle, because I think it'll really help some people to understand that even within ourselves, within anything in the universe, we have this internal turmoil, this conflict of needs between the divine feminine and divine masculine. I'm going to talk about those general principles and then kind of weave it together into how it might be showing up in your life and relationships. And if you're watching this video, there's no coincidence that you're here right now. Thank you for joining me. By the way, if you don't know me, I think you probably do, but I'm Dr. Amanda Noel, and I am a twin flame alchemist. I've helped people from all over the world in over 30 countries to align with their twin flame. And you could call it twin flame. It's a weird cult term these days, but really to me, it's about divine union of coming together with a sacred spiritual relationship. That's really a manifestation or emanation of when we've healed all of ourselves energetically. Not perfectly, but enough to the point where we love our own feminine and masculine together. So if you're here, this is kind of like an oracle reading too, because I'm going to be channeling into what needs to be said and heard for probably myself as well, so that you can maximize the benefits from this video. I want you to know that this is my soul speaking to your soul, really from a higher space. So I have a general outline. Like I've said, we're going to talk about feminine masculine principle, and then I'll kind of go more into just a channeled reading. So the feminine is, well, first of all, we have both in us, right? Whether you're male, female, doesn't matter, anywhere in between. But the feminine is one that does not operate best with a lot of structure. Like her natural operating point is creativity, flow, fluidity. It's like what feels good. And if you think about it, it's kind of like if you were to be completely in the darkness in consciousness, and you're like, I don't know which way is out, but you were just to feel into like which way is good. I'm here at the ocean, and it's kind of like being a sea creature. I was just showing my daughter, she found a sea star, a starfish, and really the starfish has very simple primal eyes. At the end of each point are the eyeballs, and all it can do is go, there's something dark, there's something light. The feminine is kind of like that. She's very primal. She's like, ooh, this feels good. Oh, this doesn't feel good. She doesn't come from logic. So now you have masculine and you have feminine. You might be a little bit more one-sided, or maybe you're a little bit of both. Maybe you have some polarity of like you're very structured, you're in a corporate job, or you have a high power position, you need to be super organized and you've got checklists, but then at the end of the day, you're gonna jump into a relationship based on what feels really good. So we have everything in us, and it's important to work together. So feminine is all about feeling. So with commitment and commitment in divine union, she wants to love and be loved. That's all she cares about. It's just got to be like, oh, it feels so good all the time. That's her desire. And she has a tendency to smother, and she has a tendency to desire a lot of commitment. The funny thing is, sometimes her story isn't always that rational. She can want commitment from like one lover right now, and then she could get angry at that lover, and then she could want a commitment from something else, or she could say, I want to be married right now, and then she gets married, and she's like, but I want to go do something else. It's a primal feeling. So we have to just kind of unconditionally accept and love that. And that's one of the aspects of the feminine is unconditional love. Now the masculine is different. The masculine likes outlines. He likes to know boundaries. He likes to know what is the goal at hand. How long are we going to stay together, engaged before we get married? The masculine sphere of commitment is this. He's terrified of being smothered and he wants freedom. But you say, but like the feminine might want to be married to different people and freedom. So everything exists together at once, and that's where it gets really confusing. But basically the masculine likes to have his freedom to do whatever his top goal is. And it's like he writes it down, he needs it. And the feminine is more about feeling. Again, the feminine fear of commitment is that she's not going to have enough love, that she's not going to have all of her needs met. She wants to love and be loved all the time. So she likes to smother, she likes to give it out. The masculine can feel overwhelmed by that because he needs to be in his logical mind. He needs to make a plan. He needs to go and do. Again, we're talking about divine union here. So in divine union, we have both aspects. How do we do that? These are complete opposite polarities of energy, and they want to go totally different directions, but then they're also forced to come back into each other. That's like the kundalini. So feminine is wanting to engorge her masculine. The masculine is desiring freedom. Sometimes the masculine version of freedom is, wow, that beautiful woman makes me feel like $1,000,000. Oh my gosh, this woman is the embodiment, or this man is the embodiment of my divine essence, and it expands me. So the way that things can work together is if you get your masculine in a state of freedom as much as possible. Now that doesn't mean that you have to have an open relationship. It doesn't mean that you have to serve him like a slave. Actually, he's not going to like that because he likes challenge too. The way we get these energies to work together is really starting within ourselves and accepting that by the nature of being in human form and being in the material plane, we're living in a freaking contradiction. We're living in a matrix that is complete polarity, and it kind of doesn't work together. It works divinely and perfectly, and it's kind of a freaking chaotic mess. Welcome to the world of twin flame relationships, divine union, and also welcome to Earth. It is not easy, as you know. And if you have a really easy life and you've never had any challenges, please let us know what you're smoking, because I would love to know. So what I've been seeing, so I'm going to move more a little bit into like practical human. We've gone into like theoretical, divine feminine loves to smother, wants to engorge, wants to take in, she wants to love and be loved and have more love, make more babies. And she often is like pulling in one energy really strongly, and it can suffocate him. So it doesn't really work to only be in the feminine. And what the masculine wants is freedom. And his version of freedom is oftentimes spreading his seed far and wide into all of these feminine portals. And he's very goal-oriented around it, whether he's spreading his seed by investing into investments or making babies or building his muscles and having structure. So the masculine likes to like grow his empire, and the feminine wants to pull in this growth into her empire. Let's transition again now into how this applies to your love life. So ladies and gentlemen, you know, like you might be a feminine in a masculine body, vice versa. We have to know what we want first. We have to feel what it is that we want. It's a feeling, it's a frequency, it's an energetic. And then from that like soupy place of energy, like how do we want that to show up in our lives? A lot of women make this big mistake when going into the divine union, is they are wishy-washy about their wishes. They're like, oh, like eventually I want to move in together, or eventually I want him to leave his wife, or eventually I want to have a ring put on my finger, or like this, that, and the other. And a lot of times we're wishy-washy about our wishes because we're holding on to not good enough energy. We're holding on to wounding, especially where we haven't integrated our feminine and masculine, where we are commitment phobic because we've been trapped in relationships that were not what we thought they would be. We're holding on to past baggage where maybe we were very excited to find love, to only find that it was abusive or toxic or just boring. And so that's an important key, is to release the past, release past relationships, replace old belief systems and barriers with like, hey, that was my glass ceiling. I'm ready to break through that. That's not how it is. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's just what I experienced. So that's where doing deep healing work, one-on-one with a counselor, doing deep healing work in any form that helps you break through those belief systems is important. And then I'm always a big fan of inner child work and early childhood blueprint work, as well as somatic trauma healing and working with the nervous system, which stores old memories and beliefs. So there's a bunch of different angles to work with it, which is why like somatic trauma healing and counseling and coaching, like they all go so well together. I have the certificates in all of them because I found them to be so great to, and then wanting to pull out, be exhausted. So her nervous system, if it's not healed and nourished and watery and feminine and feeling safe, then she doesn't feel good enough to call in committed masculine love. And so what she does instead of calling in what she deserves and desires is she settles for less. She says, I don't really need commitment. I'm gonna wait until his marriage rides out. I'm gonna wait until the online dating scene changes. I'm gonna wait. She makes some excuse of why she should wait for him to come or her to come. And instead, she is sacrificing her time on this earth. Like, if you want a relationship, if you want a fulfilling union, if you want tantric bliss, you don't have to wait. You can have it now. And by saying, you know what, I'm just going to wait, it depends on that person. I mean, sometimes you do have to compromise, right? But if it's like 5 years goes by, that happened to me. I was like, I'll just wait for him to come around. What it is we are enabling the beast to control us. I gave all this psychic power, drained it empirically to this man who didn't deserve it, who probably didn't even really want it. But I gave so much power to him that it didn't serve me, and it definitely didn't serve some fantasy union. So I had to call it back and then claim, this is my life force energy. I deserve it, and I'm going to actually apply it. I'm going to call in a person that is actionably showing up in my life. So the feminine approach is like manifest through law of attraction, spiritual woo-woo. I am a psychic. I'm a trained psychic. I help people manifest their twin flames. It does truly work. We can do a lot of manifestation work. However, there's a limitation to it. You start getting into black magic and control if the person's free will is saying, I don't want to be with you. I'm not ready. And this is the biggest wound of the feminine. This is the piece I was saying I'm going to channel to you. You're hopefully hearing this message, is if he, your divine masculine, is saying not right now, leave him be. If you are saying, I'm scared to tell him what I really want and feel, and I really want to, get married, or I really want to move in together, or I want to have a baby together, and you're like, I'm scared, it means that you're probably not owning your desire, and there's probably a reason behind that. A nervous system trauma, something, a blueprint, a belief, something in your operating system that's like a virus that needs to be cleared. So running that malware virus, and that's what people like myself can help people do, is clear that fear, clear that scarcity, clear that trauma, so that you can be operating from, I deserve it. And whether or not that person comes, that person that I perceive as my twin flame, my divine union person, they come or not, I'm going to have it. I am going to have this delicious cake of a life. I deserve it. I can have it. And you feel that, and you know that, and it's in your nervous system. It's in your operating system, your chakras, your aura, like all of it. Your sexy Shakti. You're owning that so deeply that it's like, who gives an F if that person comes or not? Because if that person that we were obsessing about for the 5 years doesn't come, you're like, thank you, universe. That was only 5 years because my love is so deep. So your love has got to be like freaking Jesus level love. That's what a twin flame union is. Whether you're Christian or you believe in any of the Christian angels or not, I like to use like that level of intensity of like, the biggest love of the galaxy, which is called the Logos, or in some traditions it's called Christ or the sun. So the Logos, the consciousness of our entire galaxy, is held within the sun. and it is the heart chakra of our galaxy. It's our core center. If we are in that state of divine love, then we're not like, you need to love me and you need to do this. It's more like, I have so much unconditional love. I am like, the Christed energy. I just emanate this love and joy. And by the way, it's going to be so obvious that my human self will probably be getting married soon because that's what she desires. And that's just my highest excitement expression. Maybe for you, marriage is not a thing. Maybe it's not a legal thing. Maybe marriage for you is a mirage and you're just so done with it. And your highest expression is to do a ritual together or just to be like, this is my person. I am not going to judge you. That is a beautiful divine expression because it is your truth. But if you are like me and my husband and I, and we're like, if we're going to have babies, then it might be nice to have like a legal entity surrounding it. And then we were feeling the energy. We're like, oh, the legal entity of the government feels really satanic. When we're signing that document, it feels dark. What should we do? And we're like, well, we have so much divine love, we could either avoid legal marriage and just do our own thing, or it feels like we have this weird calling to actually get married through the legal system, through the state, the deep state, and de-demonize it, to diamonize it, to rectify it, because truly we haven't gotten there yet, or at least maybe back in Atlantean times or Lemurian times we were there, but we haven't been there for a long time. And the trauma of the flood and all of our ancestors and all of their divorces or their arranged marriages, I know we have mail order brides in our ancestry, and like those virgins came over like, I don't know how to speak English, I'm coming to America and like I'm signing up for some dude who's gonna like bone me the first night I get there, and I don't even know how it works because I've been so like Christianized in a sort of anesthesia type of way. So our poor ancestors have gone through so much that is held in our memories, and then we're trying to like have the state marry us off and like give us this love. It's like such an illusion. So to me, it was so important that my husband and I did a sacred love, like marriage, an alchemical marriage ritual, divine union ritual on our own before pronouncing ourselves man and wife in front of our families and then signing the documents. Funny, they have you sign like afterwards, I think, and then like you have like a couple of days to turn it in. So it made so much sense the way that we did it, and we've been fully aware that the system of the marriage state isn't like fully supportive. There's some support to it of like, yeah, we have a legal structure, like, if we ever need to go through a divorce, which I know fully that we're not, and it's also nice to have a plan A, B, C, D, just like when I was like, I'm gonna have an orgasmic birth, it was like, that's plan A, Amanda plan. Plan B was like, but we might have to go to the birth center. I wanted to have a home birth, but plan B was the birth center, and plan C was, okay, we're going to the hospital, and plan D was like, we're having a C-section. Luckily I had a home breech birth, orgasmic breech birth. I'm not allowed to say that, so no, that didn't really happen, never mind. Because, our legal systems are so perfect, they align with all of our needs, and sometimes to be Christed, you have to be very creative to get around, So I digressed a little bit, but basically this kind of ties in to the divine union of like the feminine is forging the way with energy. The masculine is structuring things. The masculine might have a very solid structure, like we're getting married in this amount of time. But then actually with flow, it's like, well, you know what? We had to go through a little bit of a delay because of our emotional stuff coming up from childhood. We had to go to that premarital counselor, remember? That's what my husband and I did. We had to hire premarital counselors, and we had all these like wonderful heart chakra openings and tantric bliss openings, and that opened the floodgates to blisters, bliss and trauma, glimmers and triggers. So I was telling my client this, one of my clients this today, like it's not the goal in the divine union to have only union. It's about having ruptures and repair. That's the healthy path. It's like building a muscle. You work out, which actually strengthens you, but in that process, you're breaking the muscle down, and then over the next couple of days, the muscle regrows bigger and stronger. Relationships are the same way. If you don't have ruptures with your divine beloved or your kids or your boss, you're never going to grow. It means that we're not actually showing up fully. It's not authentic. we're not voicing our triggers. We're always going to have triggers. So a glimmer, one of my mentors, Deb Dana, who's big in the somatic world, talks about glimmers, and she came up with this word that's like, trigger like sets you back and your nervous system's like, ah. A glimmer is something where you are actually like, that feels good. So for me, a glimmer might be, oh, the ocean is so beautiful and wonderful. So I'm going to relax my nervous system and I'm going to breathe in because I see the ocean. Or it might be hearing a little kid laugh. So the more we can actually nourish our nervous systems with glimmers, the more we're ready for those triggers. Every relationship is going to come with its triggers. Every commitment is going to come with moments of divine masculine suffocation. The masculine, I won't call it the divine masculine, but the masculine shadow is going to feel suffocated. So if we can have glimmers going on of like, wow, how free do I feel in my relationship? I'm traveling to this tropical island. I feel great. And sometimes I have those moments of, oh my God, I don't have enough space. We're staying in this little beach bungalow with our daughter. Like, I want to have like 3 days off to just go do my thing, but I can't have that right now because we didn't agree to this in our vacation. And my husband would go crazy dealing with my daughter, 4-year-old daughter on his own. So we have to say, okay, I've had this commitment. How much glamour can I glitter on it?